What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Just Swingin podcast with Symone. Today, I have a very, very special guest, Coach Earnest Horton, founder, CEO of Black Baseball Matters, and he's also coach because that's in his title, coach. But we're gonna get all into it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Symone. It's an honor. I've been tracking and following you for the last year, so you're doing some great things, man. Keep pushing.
I appreciate it. So let's get into your story because I see you on the gram all the time. So I know you have a bubbling personality from what I see from Instagram. So I know this is gonna be a good conversation.
Yeah, maybe hopefully I'm glad you said that my players can hear that part because they see the other part of it.
So let's start from where it all started for you. So you're fully wrapped up in baseball now, but how did that start? How did you first get introduced to the game as a player?
So I started playing baseball on the south side of Chicago, little league called Southside Little League. It's in the Chatham neighborhood. It's not Jackie Robinson West. We were Jackie Robinson West Little League. I know everybody heard of JRW. We're actually their rivals and everything. We had a really, really competitive rivalry going from 1998 all the way to the early 2000s. So I started playing baseball when I was like 8 or 9. Went to High Park Academy. Was reluctant enough to receive a baseball scholarship at the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. I was there from 2005 to 2009. Started 3 years in the outfield. Had a wonderful time. Probably a little bit too much good times. That's why I didn't go pro. But that wasn't in God's plan.
See, I had too much fun in high school. That's why I didn't get a college scholarship.
Okay.
So I completely understand that. So were you just playing baseball as a child? Were you playing baseball, football, basketball?
Oh, we grew up, Chicago is basketball mecca. So everybody, you grew up playing basketball on the playground, but I was way better in baseball than basketball. I was still good though. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, I naturally got long, and basketball in Chicago, man, it's a gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
So, when I started turning 12 and 13, I started, saying, all right, well, these guys ducking right now, so let me focus on baseball. So that's kind of where it was always basketball and baseball, all the way probably up until 8th grade.
So what position were you playing?
Outfield.
Oh, okay.
A little bit, everybody plays shortstop and third base and second base coming up, and then the when you get in high school, it gets real.
Mm-hmm. So at what point were you like taking baseball serious, like enough to go to college for it? Like,
I would have to say my sophomore year of high school. Started having some success against some really good competition and everything. And then, our coaches and people in summer league was like, hey, you apply yourself. I always had good grades. That wasn't never an issue in my household. So, really started locking in and training and taking it serious.
so what was the scene like, the baseball scene in Chicago? You said it was, yeah, we see Chicago, we think basketball, but what was the baseball scene like?
And this is, we get such a knock because we're cold weather state, but the baseball scene, man, even if you go back in time in the 80s with, there was a lot of draft picks coming out of Chicago, out of high school in the 80s. Chicago is we're a baseball town. We get so overshadowed with basketball, but youth baseball is thriving in Chicago, especially now. But even back then, we didn't get the notoriety and, everything, and now the internet presence here. But Chicago has always been a baseball town.
Let the people know. Let them know.
Hey, you see what it is? We always been a baseball town. We just get, basketball just overshadows us.
Mm-hmm. So you're in high school. You're thinking about going to college. What colleges were you considering? You ended up going to UAPB, but what else were you considering?
Yeah, Alcorn State. We have a small school in Indiana. I got a little buzz from Jackson State, and I want to say a little buzz from Grambling. So it was primarily the HBCU circuit. When I actually started, saying where I was going to go, everybody else started. That's how it is now. Everybody started jumping in and everything.
So what was like, I know now, like when it comes to HBC baseball, it's Southern, Jackson State, Grambling has been getting some draft picks recently. Was it the same then? Like, who was the powerhouse HBCU baseball program?
So I was there from 05 to 2009. Traditionally, Southern has always had the most draft picks in HBC baseball. Don't quote me, but back then it was Southern. Prairie View had a really good run from 2004 to 2006. Prairie View, they had the Richard brothers. They both got drafted back-to-back years. They had an outfit, that got drafted. He's really fast. So Prairie View had, shout out to Mike Robinson. He's at Texas Southern now. But TSU had some draft picks get up out of the Pine Bluff. We had a couple. It was spread out. This last couple years, man, the draft has been draft picks out of the SWAC. I'm just talking about the SWAC. That's what I know. Has been decreased for some odd reason. I don't know. I wouldn't say lack of talent. I would never say that, but yeah. I think there were more from when I was in school from 05 to 09. There were more draft picks from that 4-year span than the recent times.
So why do you think that is though? Because like you said, so I work for HBCU Game Day, so I'm always covering the baseball games. But like you said, it's not a lack of talent. So what do you think it is?
So the one thing we got to look at is Major League Baseball is not 50 rounds anymore, right? So they cut it down to, I want to say 20 rounds. Right when COVID hit, right? They did the supplemental, then they cut it down. So there's not 50 rounds anymore. So that kid I was getting picked in the 22nd, 23rd round and got a shot to try to make the big leagues, it's no opportunity for him. So I think that's primarily is the biggest reason why. Because now you're stacking the HBCU. Baseballs, they're looking at high schoolers. International, it's a tough racket, right? So when you think HBCU baseball, we get a negative kind of connotation, you know what I'm saying? And the stigma, I should say, within pro scouts grading system, right? I've talked to a lot of pro scouts. They say he's an HBCU guy, and I always challenge, what is an HBCU guy? What does that mean? You know, what does that mean? So we have some type of negative stereotypes behind the scenes, but I think primarily when the draft got cut from 50 rounds to 20 rounds.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So you said, you had a couple of options in the SWAC. Why did you pick UAPB though?
Coaching staff made me feel at home, made me feel welcome, and then we had a couple other people from Chicago going at us. So the familiar faces, guys I played against, guys I played with. So, we had the mindset, hey, we're gonna turn this thing around, Chicago style. So, and we would have put some competitive teams together on the field. So
wasn't that like a big, from Chicago to Arkansas, wasn't that like a big change for you?
Oh man, the first thing that I had to get adjusted with was the heat. We ain't experienced it felt like the sun was on your neck. The culture was extremely different. But coming from a big city and, we were able to navigate and adjust. The huge adjustment was you had a lot of dead time. Everything was spaced out. Everything's 20, 30 minutes away. Small town, everybody's friendly. That was weird for us coming down. Everybody's speaking. We like, man, what everybody's so friendly, So that was a little adjustment. I think the biggest adjustment was just getting your body and mind adapted and really used to the heat. That first year man, I remember that kicked my butt. We was going through 3 and 4 shirts like that. It's nothing. No matter how much we explain to ball play, it's something you got to go through. That heat, it's something else.
Man, I don't know the difference between Georgia and Arkansas, but yeah, the heat, it hits down here. It hits. So I already know what you're talking about. So what was that transition like from you going from high school to now playing Division I baseball?
It was so put like this: high school, you can roll out the bed, go get you a couple hits and everything, and just depend on your talent. At D1, it ain't, man. You really got to be locked in every day, no matter if you got HBCU, big conference. You have to be locked in every single day. Like there's no type of taking. I'm sorry. There's no taking and a bat off. There's no taking a practice off because you got somebody breathing down your neck for your spot. And then you have to literally, like in high school, 15 ball players, 9 start. The others are, not that talented, good guys and everything. But when you in college, 9 starting, but you got 4 or 5 guys to take your spot like that. So you gotta, and you also gotta be a good teammate. So it's not, it's competitive. It's a competitive thing, but you also gotta help each other out. That's the hardest thing to really get used to, because it's like, this guy trying to take my spot, but it's my teammate. So you have to find an equal balance to be a great teammate to that person, and then also compete every day against each other.
So how do you find that balance? Like, especially like you said, that's your teammate you want to uplift, boom, 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 boom. But also you gotta feed you too. So like, how do you find that balance? See, look, I ran track. That's an individual sport. So
yeah, you on the block. I think it's really, you really have to lock in and connect with your selflessness about yourself. And I think we had a great coach that had us buy in to the program. When you buy in and it's like, look, I don't care about none of that. I'm gonna put the best 9 guys out, you go get it. But once the 9 guys are out there, we all trying to win. That's help each other out. And then I think the hugest thing that helped you was, and I didn't really understand it till I got to college, like, you as a young guy, you come in under the older guys and they're used to the regimen, they're used to it. You need to learn how to do that and get used to that regimen and the do's and don'ts, and then you pass it on to the younger guys.
Okay, that makes sense. And iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. The cream gonna rise to the top.
The cream gonna rise to the top. But I mean, like, it's been situations where, like, some college programs, man, they got 3 shortstops. One of them got to convert to third base, and one of them plays the outfield. So that situation happened like that before. I was the customer my last year. I was playing right field. The left fielder he had problems reading the ball in left field. So, what I was gonna say? No, I'm not moving on. We're gonna switch, and we got to make it, do what it do.
Now there are some people who, brats and be like, I ain't switching. But
yeah,
who was something? Go ahead.
And people with that, mindset on the team, it's bad karma for the team. It's extremely bad karma.
So who are some of those like guys he was going up against during your time in the SWAC?
In the SWAC, Southern Brandon Rivas, man, he was pretty good. He talked a lot of smack at shortstop.
Were you a smack talker?
Oh man, what? He'll let you know if you hit the ball to miss out.
I said, were you a smack talker?
No. I ain't really. I started talking smack, after we started getting in. But he was one that he get off the bus talking smack, and he up to Sunday night after the series, at Friday time. Another guy, I got to give a shout out to Coach Milk at Mississippi Valley State University. Just got the head coaching job. He was the second baseman from Grambling. I just saw him in Chicago on a recruiting trip, but he was one of the biggest smack talkers in the SWAC, like, ever. He was second base, and he could hit. It seemed like every time he comes to bat, it was a double. Man. Jackson State, I'm drawing a blank. Jackson State had a right fielder. He was a smack talker too. Like, those guys really stood out to me. Who else? There's one more guy I'm missing. I'm drawing a blank. But like, now on Facebook, connecting with him and everything, it's just it brought the best out of me, right? It brought the best out of pretty much everybody. Oh, David Reed, I'm sorry, one of my good friends, David Reed of Alcorn, he was a catcher. He was another smack talker, but it was something about the smack talking, the loud chatter, the way we played the game in the SWAC, the stolen bases, the bunting, the hitting and running, the way we really embraced our culture in baseball that made it special. No matter with the smack talking or not, like at the end, we all knew, we have this special bond of being SWAC brothers.
Yeah. So when you look now, like, what do you think has changed when it comes to HBCU baseball and the SWAC and overall since, because what, it's been about 20, it's about to be almost, you said 2003 you got there?
2005, baby, 05. Oh, it's
So
almost
it's,
20 years.
I mean, it's almost 20 years. Wait,
It's almost, I know. When I go back and look at the SWAC now, right? When I look at SWAC baseball, overall, the passion is there, but it's just missing the edginess and the pride that we had, right? It was like, you heard stories about Prairie View trashing Gramblin's bus, and I'm not saying that it's right, but it was literally, man, you had guys, it was almost gang affiliated, like, yeah, this is us. It's us against y'all. And I don't know if that's a generational thing. Also, I think with the bigger schools, the PWIs now this is a great thing too. The PWIs are actually giving African Americans an opportunity to play baseball at their university. Like, I've seen it turn, right? I've had a couple kids I coach, they're going to Louisville, Vandy, getting looks at Iowa, all that. So that's great. So I think before, wasn't that many African Americans getting those looks, right? So you had, let's say, I'm not going to label as better talent, but you had, those guys who might have got overlooked at the university now playing at the SWAC. But what I do think that the SWAC possesses more than us now is better exposure to these kids, right? Because back then when we got recruited, somebody had to make a call to make a call to make a call. Now they're going IG right now, Twitter and everything, and find ball players. So I do think, in my opinion, it lost its edginess and pride. It's still competitive, but I think, I've been to a SWAC game and they were chirping, but I remember playing in the SWAC game, Mississippi Valley game, the whole softball team was heckling us, ragging us. We lost on like a base hit walk-off. They were heckling our bus, shaking the bus, and that I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but the last couple of SWAC games I've been to, it wasn't to that extreme.
It wasn't as passionate.
Yes, that's my opinion, right? That's just Coach E. Don't, whoever sees this, don't shun.
Don't get in your feelings.
Coach E.
Don't get in your feelings, basically.
Don't get in your feelings, but it's what it is.
So when did you realize that you wanted to get into coaching and mentorship?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. So I was a health and PE major. I thought I was just gonna be a PE teacher, health teacher, and everything. A student taught in Arkansas my last semester. Came home and my high school coach, Radcliffe, who's coaching at Morgan Park, and called me like, man, come help me out with these young guys. He was getting older, I'm like, I'll help you out a little bit. And I started doing that. And I started coaching summer ball. Then I started coaching high school. Then I started coaching with the White Sox Ace program. Then started gym, and then Black Baseball Man. And every year it kept trickling, getting bigger and bigger. And we saw the impact. I think one of the reasons why Chicago now is on top with great talent, a lot of college guys from my era came back and really, like, we didn't learn all the stuff we learned. We had to learn in college. So those kids now are getting college to pro level instruction at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. So I think that's huge.
So, okay, so your high school coach recruited you back home to Chicago. So when did you kind of feel like the coaching thing was what you wanted to do long term then?
I would say I got back home in 2010. I would say 2012. I don't know the moment that I say, yeah, I want to coach. But it's just something that I jumped into, as I saw, the guys who were coaching me in the summertime and my friends' coaches and all that, they were getting seasoned, they're getting a little older. And, myself and a couple of my friends, we talked like, look, this baseball thing ain't going to keep going the way it needs to go unless we step up. So that's what we did. Now we're here, now we almost the old Bucks. Got a lot of good young guys coming in.
Season.
So,
okay, where did the idea for Black Baseball Matters come from?
So it's crazy. My business partner and I, my ex-teammate, we were sitting around, it was during COVID, we were sitting around and everything, and we were just doing, I was doing my online workouts with the kids, and, I was just looking at the stats, the Major League Baseball. I'm like, man, there's really only 4% of African Americans playing baseball. I mean, 7%, I'm sorry. And then I dug deeper and I said, it's only 4% of African Americans in NCAA baseball. And I just said it like, man, you know what? Black baseball, that what needs to matter. And it was like a moment look like, yeah, it does. And then, we just started doing a hashtag, Black Baseball Matters, Black Baseball Matters, camp stuff, and everybody started saying it, right? So then, we like, all right, we started thinking like, okay, how can we get this awareness out, right? The first thing is what? Merchandise with our culture. We put it on, put up a little site and everything, and, it took off for us, right? People really, it felt like people were really waiting on, especially the baseball mom and dad and the ex-player were really waiting on somebody to jump out there and really be radical with the statement, right? Like, no, Black baseball does matter. And I think it was a kind of test of trial error, but like, oh, they just doing that because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But like, now we got this whole built out plan because Black Baseball Matters, we originally started it we knew that baseball instruction was the most vital, important piece of any African-American playing this game of baseball, right? If you put two kids together that are both African-American, the one who gets better training is probably going to have a probability of getting a college scholarship before this kid. And no knock on MLB, no knock on nobody that's doing something for kids. But all we kept seeing was, we're going to donate equipment. We're going to give them, park district money. We're going to do this. But that's not raising the bar. That's not closing that huge gap that's in NCAA baseball and Major League Baseball. So what we want to do was we want to create a brand and a company that can show significant growth in African Americans playing the game of baseball at the college and pro level, while actually making it affordable for the parents. That's the biggest thing. So what we do is we have fundraisers, we do different seminars and everything. We raise money, so now we can provide this kid, boy or girl, that elite training, and then the trainers get what they deserve as business owners, right? Oftentimes, African American baseball trainers and nutritionists and the exercise moguls and everything, just because they're Black, they're like, oh, well, you should be doing this for free for your community. That's not fair to them.
That is true.
But I also understand that this African American household might not be able to afford that $80 an hour. So that's where we want to come in and create resources and ways where both parties, they can receive instruction, they can receive their just due as a trainer or business owner.
So the main function is getting those guys connected with the right training programs.
Absolutely. That's the whole thing about Black Baseball. Man. I know a lot of people think it's just, oh, it's a merchandise, it's this, but it's deeper. And that's why we came out with the Black Baseball Matters app. Check it out on iOS and Google Play Store. Had to do the little drop. But we're really putting a lot of work into this app to where we're going to have a parent resource tab, because what's going on right now, these baseball companies, not knocking PBR, Perfect Game, or anybody else, but they have so many showcases. Our families don't know which one to pick from, right? They're just spending $400, $500 because they're using the emotional tie to sales pitch, get seen, get exposed. But your child might not be ready for that right now, or that might not be the best one for you. And you're spending out your hard-earned money, and there's no return on investment. So we like to help and navigate the parents through that cycle. And then recruitment, right? I was in Atlanta just a couple of weeks ago for Chip Lawrence's HBCU Pro Showcase, right? They had over 200 kids there from Phoenix, California, Arizona, Atlanta, of course, the home team, a couple kids from Chicago. And we want to, those events where the coaches are there, intimate times, and they're giving offers on the spot, those are the type of events we want to push our African-American boys and girls to those events, right? Instead of having them go pay this big juggernaut company and you ain't even getting looked at. And then also with the app, we're going to connect trainers to kids, right? Depending on their ability, their age level, their playing ability, their age, their where they're at geographically in the United States and everything. And we want to make sure, because you get trainers, this is the dirty part about trainers. Sometimes trainers just taking your money because they're trying to pay their bill. We want to make sure that we place them with the right trainer, right? This kid that's 16, 17 years old, he's number 5 in the state. Okay, you can go to this advanced pro guy. We'll, ship you there. But guy that's 15 years old playing baseball, just trying to get better, stay off the streets, you go here. So nobody's getting price gouged.
So how do you find, like, how do you get, I know you have like a lot of connections through baseball, but how do you get those trainers? Like, how do you
So
get the database and like having enough for all the different guys?
So what we did was the phase one was we just did our word of mouth. Like I said, I have a strong network. I was blessed, to go different conferences and everything. So those guys jumped on board quickly. So I know we have 5 to 6 that's in Chicago. We got a couple in Atlanta. And then it's basically passing the word of mouth. The second phase is when we go to our baseball conferences, we will literally present and say, hey, this is our app that we have. Here's the purpose. Would you like to sign up for it? And then the third thing we're going to do is a social media campaign. That will be launched in the summertime to get people on. But what we didn't want to do is water it down, right? We didn't want people looking at this as an opportunist type of mindset. Oh, let me get on here and make some quick money. And look like, no, we want people who's really going to go above and beyond for these kids.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's the long-term vision? Because I feel like it's so many things, like so many opportunities with Black Baseball Matters. So what's some of the long-term, I got the free Zoom, so I got to wrap it up.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, I already know. Hey, I trust you. I know. So this is what the long term, hear me out. This is the long term because you got two things kind of going at one time. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is we want to make sure that on the media side, if Symone wants to watch an African American play baseball in Atlanta in high school, we are able to connect them to that game, right? Or that practice, right? That's the 5 to 10, 15 to 20 year goal. Because right now, people think we're not playing baseball because they're not seeing it. And I keep saying, Greg Goodwin, one of my mentors, we did in high school, Hall of Fame in Georgia and everything. He said something to me that was groundbreaking. I heard in 2014. He said, man, they keep telling us we're not playing. Look out. And I looked out, it was 300 African Americans playing, but we're not getting seen. And that's not by chance, that's by design. That man behind the thing, sorry, I got to get a little rock with them. Some of them big pushes for white baseball, they don't want to see us playing this game. They don't want to go back to the 70s and the 60s and 80s where we dominated this game. They don't want to see that. So they're purposely not publicized. They're jacking that price up. So what we want to do is on the media side, highlight the great things that's going on in baseball. So when MVP, Alex Weech and them have an event, we want to make sure that
hold on. I got to stop you. Is it Weech or White?
I call him Weech. It's White. I hope you watch. It's White. That's my point. That's my round. So if Minority Baseball Prospect is having an event in like the HBCU All-Star game, they can broadcast, but we're going to broadcast that to our people on our app and make it go global.
Yeah.
And so that's one piece of it for the media side. And then the other side for the community give back, we want it to where African-American families can literally go on one app, one tool, find a trainer and pay at a discount or almost free because we're unlocking corporate dollars. Prime example, if you go to like college scholarships, let's say college scholarships, right? You go fill the application out, you got a $700, book scholarship. We want kind of the same process and concept for training.
Yeah.
That's funded by the third-party underwriters. So that's kind of our long goal game. That's why you see now we just renamed the YouTube channel Black Baseball Media because we want to highlight and showcase the African Americans. Then with Black Baseball Matters, with the instruction and the training, we want to make sure that family can afford this trainer and the trainer get paid what they do.
I love it. A man with a plan.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, though. Like I said, y'all, I've seen you on Instagram, seen the page, the merch, everything flies. Sounds great.
Thank you so much. And then you tell you at HBCU game day, tell HBCU game day, tap in. This is one thing, and I'm gonna tease them. I know they're short staffed and everything, but this is like prime example. That kid in LA, and I'm picking on California because I did a podcast with David Watson. He's like, look, Compton, we don't know nothing about no HBCUs and all that. So,
right.
I challenge HBCU game day, everybody who has HBCU.
Oh, yeah, because you was it you who messaged us?
I don't know. No, so I might have. So what happens is I have an intern. It might have, like, some message gets sent automatic. It might not have been me. It might be people who help me on social media. But what we want to do is, and we want to help support anything that's pushing blacks in baseball. So if it's HBCU sports, hey, let us know what resource you need from us. We'll be willing to help out because you guys got a great platform.
Well,
and I know
first of all, we got to know about certain events. Like some events, they're not publicized as
marketing.
heavy.
That exactly.
Because you were just talking about you said it was an HBCU showcase in here in Atlanta. I didn't hear about it.
I know.
Stillman College, they just participated in a showcase. I forgot who they played, but that wasn't like, it was something that made it historical. I think they were playing at like a minor league park or something for the first time.
So this is, and I'm glad that you said that. It's a commercial bite for me right now, but this is the purpose of Black Baseball Matters. The fact that you didn't know in your home city there was something going on. We don't want that problem.
I would have been there. I didn't know.
That's why I said the media part, we want to connect everybody African-American to everything that's going on in Black baseball, period. That's the exact reason why, because baseball is such a close-knit type of, it's not basketball, it's not football. Baseball is the gentleman's sport. Everything is close-knit, right? Not because of their intentionally not trying to market, but that's all we know, right? That's all we've been programmed to do, and we're trying to break that, right? We want to highlight it. Like anything going on in Atlanta, this city, go to the Black Baseball Matters app, you're going to find out. And that's the kind of partnership coming down the pipeline phase 2 that you will see on the Black Baseball Matters app. The reason why we're going to place and keep it on the app, and we're not going to just do like Instagram, Twitter, and all that, because it get overlooked. Once we put it on the app, whoever has the app download it, we send you a push notification, come right to your phone. So once you download the app after this, Symone, I can send you, hey, Pro Youth Foundation or Buck O'Neill Conference, Charlotte, come right to the phone.
That's a great point. That's a good point. Because everything does get lost on, like, if you're not sending a direct, some events, they'll send you, an email, press email. All those events getting posted, if you follow 1,000 people, you're going to miss 90% of it.
No, 95%. And this is like I said, that's the beauty of the app. Like, that's the beauty. So that's why I said we try to get as many. I go 1,000 downloads by January, and the right downloads, especially Symone Sports, HBCU, Game Day, Deion Sanders himself, so they can know what's going on in baseball, especially African American baseball. We want to provide that information for them.
Well, let me go download the app.
Go download the app. It's on the you go to my Instagram. You can go to the link in the bio for Apple, or you can type it in on the Google Play Store. Apple not letting us type it in right now, but we got it. On the Google Play Store, you'll see it's pretty cool. We got the second baseman, Josh Harrison from the White Sox. He's going to be doing something special around Christmas dealing with the app. So please stay tuned to that. I can't announce it right now, but it's going to be huge for the kids.
Oh,
yeah.
It's embargo.
Yes. Huge things going on. Spread it to everybody with the HBCU Game Day. Make everybody download that app. It's free. Why wouldn't it? It's free.
Right. All right. Got it downloaded. But I appreciate it. I'm excited because, like I said, we definitely need some more, especially as media people. Like, we definitely need more. We need to know more about these events, because a lot of people be like, why you ain't come to this? I didn't know y'all had that going on. Did you tell anybody? Like,
yeah. And I keep saying it, that's the sole purpose, because like when we sat around, I'm like, we are playing baseball, but don't nobody know, right? Nobody really knows what's going on. So that's what we want to, that's the problem we're going to solve with the app.
All right, I'm going to sign up right now, but this was a great conversation. I really appreciate the time.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Well, guys, I am Symone. He is Coach Earnest, Black Baseball Matters, Coach E of Guru.
That's right, Guru, baby. Guru.
On Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you guys download the app Black Baseball Matters. Thank you guys so much for joining us.